In western Colorado, near a small town called Natarita, are the remnants of a lost time in history. What was once a booming mining town is now only a mere memory as an uninhabited and undeveloped Superfund site. Uravan, Colorado was a company town established in 1936 by the U.S. Vanadium Corporation in an effort to extract rich vanadium ore in the region. A byproduct of this mining was small amounts of uranium, commonly used as a yellow pigment for ceramics. During World War II, uranium from this region contributed to the Manhattan Project and the first atomic bomb. In 1946, the United States Congress passed the Atomic Energy Act, which resulted in a uranium boom in the Four Corners region, with Uravan being one of the top producers. After years of decline in demand for locally produced uranium, its mining industry collapsed in the early 1980s, and by 1985 it was decided to close the town, forcing 800 inhabitants to move. Cleanup of the area was commenced in 1986 and completed in 2008. Every building was removed, the site was graded and replanted, and in 2012 the property was acquired by Montrose County, who entered into a lease agreement with the Rimrocker Historical Society in 2013. Today, only an interpretive sign remains at the old town site, and many of the mines surrounding it can still be seen from the highway. During my recent road trip, I passed through the area and put my drone in the air to capture some of this history. Unfortunately, I do not have any shots of the town area, so this video will focus on some of the mines still visible along the east side of the canyon. I'll be back out here later in the year and have full intention to document the entire area. Look for an update video coming soon. The first mine I recorded might not even be a mine. Judging by the very small waste rock pile out front, it appears it may only be a prospect and does not go in very far. A prospect is when they blast a small tunnel into the rock to get an idea of the mineral content, and if nothing is found, they move on, and thus it does not have an official record. Next up, we have what I assume was called the Equinox Mine. I could not find a map for it, but I did find this listing on minedat.org, showing a waste rock pile that is on top of the rim nearby. I assume that pile is linked to the portals I am showing you here below the rim. This mine has been sealed shut with concrete and there is no access. The ore bins out front have been removed, but you can still see a wood plank on the edge where the rail would have turned and transitioned onto it. Not far from the Equinox Mine is the Adak Mine, which has a sizable waste rock pile out front. Again, I was unable to locate a map of this mine, but a listing on minedat.org shows a photo of the old ore bins, which have since disappeared sometime between 2021 when the photo was taken and today. This mine is also sealed shut with some tidy cinder block walls for its multiple entrances, although what I believe is a dynamite storage still remains here on the left. Also, I missed it at the time, but you can see where the main adit used to be, which is now a nicely camouflaged rock wall. The ore bins used to be next to this big rock between the hillside and this pile of rock here. Making a turn to the right, you can see me down below next to the road and the previously shown Equinox Mine on the left. This one confused me for a bit, but I believe what we are looking at is the Cliff Dweller Mine. Multiple maps are available for this mine, and one of them matches up with this specific location, but the other does not. I should have spent more time looking at the area where the portal could have been, but I got distracted by this woodwork going up to the top of the rim. I assume this was for water supply. This road you see runs all along the rim, and some areas are accessible today as part of the Rimrocker Trail that runs from Montrose, Colorado to Moab, Utah. Here's a second look at the area where the portal should be, but due to intentional or unintentional rockfall, nothing immediately stands out. Now we get to the good stuff. This was the first mine I recorded that got me excited. So excited, in fact, that I missed a few things which I will try and point out to you here. This is part of the Fox Group Mine, which includes another adit to the east we will see in a bit. If we pause here for a second, you can see some rail exiting from a lower adit that I missed at the time. Lots of vent pipe or water pipe laying around. Some of the rail is hanging over the edge here, which I assume was used to dump all of that waste rock, as it doesn't go very far. This mine appears to be open with nothing but a no trespassing sign hanging in the entrance. The best part about this mine is the rail running down the side of the rim here to another adit I didn't record at the bottom. Since the first area looked like a waste rock dump, I think this was to bring ore to the road above the rim for transport. Not far away is a massive adit opening that is also part of the Fox Group Mine. I fully regret not flying in closer so the camera could adjust and give us a better look inside, adding that to my list of things to record when I go back. Based on this map that I found, it appears that this section is linked to the other mines around it. There is also supposed to be a portal further down the hill, but I was unable to find it on Google Earth or the video I have, so it may be covered by the waste rock pile. Flying around the corner, you can see an old ladder propping up against the rock. I'm curious if this was to access the lower adit that I couldn't find. And here we have the Dolores Mine with a couple ore bins out front. Based on the map, it appears the adit was directly behind the ore bins, and as you can see, there's a big pile of rocks there. The portal to the right doesn't go in very far, and it shows another entrance around the corner to the right, but I cannot see it from what I have recorded. Here's a look at the ore bins out front. Next, we head over to the fraction mine. I was briefly distracted by this frame, as I do not know what it was used for, so if you know, definitely comment down below. This one also had an adit directly in line with the ore bin, and as you can see, it is also covered by a big pile of rocks. Not sure about you guys, but that looks intentional to me and not a natural rock slide. I had to look around to see if I could find the portal, but having seen the map, I can now confirm that it's sealed up. It looks like there was a single ore bin on this one, and it has taken a spill over the edge from erosion. This other bit of waste rock looks like it could have been part of the fraction mine based on the mine map. As you can see, it has been sealed shut with concrete. There appears to be a small hole where the vent or water pipe was pulled out on the right. A quick look down the rim and you can see more workings and waste rock, but I do not have any information on these. Ah, the Club Sandwich Mine. Yes, you heard me right. Club Sandwich. It sounds like it was named by one of those people that gives their pet cat a weird name. Anyway, I went in below here to see if I could find a portal below the nicely sized waste rock pile. Nothing there. Here's a good look at the dual ore bins and the collapsed railway for the waste rock dump. Again, I went on a search for an adit only to discover later that it was also directly behind the ore bins. However, I did find some workings around the corner to the left that likely didn't go in very far. Back over to Club Sandwich and a quick look around to see if I could find anything else. Here's a good look at the road above the rim, which is part of the Rimrocker Trail. This mine had some more workings around the corner to the right, including another portal, but unfortunately I missed it. This next mine is called the Riverside Mine, and it's quite puzzling to me for a couple reasons. One, this adit does not appear on the mine maps of this location, and the adit that does appear on the map appears to be a small entrance that is accessible by ladder on the left. But this adit was one of my favorites because of this amazing ore bin setup with the rail still mostly intact out front, and this massive opening that immediately splits left and right. Check out the wood beams on the ceiling. Here's a good look following the rail out to the edge, which still has some ore cart dumping stopper things on the end. I'm not sure what they're called. To the right, not too far to the south, is the Club No.2 mine. Based on the mine map, it also appears to connect to several other mines around it, including the Sandy Mine. There's also a tunnel that connects to the Joe Mine, which is behind the Riverside Mine. I've actually taken the two separate maps and overlaid them using the boundary lines, which shows the tunnel that connects. Club No.2 is probably the longest tramway out front with 2 ore bins and a large waste rock pile. Check out that old ladder. The main adit for this one is actually behind this large rock here, which I completely missed. I'm not sure what this entrance is. At the time I thought it was the main adit, but it wouldn't make sense with this style of door. Also not sure what the yellow stuff is on the outside. Looks maybe like spray foam? Maybe it was for dynamite storage, or a cool place for the miners to hang out. On my next trip I will definitely get in closer. Another quick look at the tramway and ore bins before we head over to what looks to have been the office or workshop, which has unfortunately been knocked over by a rock slide or the wind. I'm curious about this barbed wire and chain link fence around what appears to be a wooden log sticking out of the ground. Next up we have what I assume is the Star No. 6 mine. The only info I have is a location marker on minedat.org that is in roughly the same location, but these markers are at times wildly inaccurate, as evidenced by the markers here showing the Sandy Mine, which is in fact way over here. Pretty large waste rock pile out front, and I didn't really see anything off to the left. However, when I got closer to the main part of the mine and rounded this corner, I was shocked to see this massive old ladder propped up against the rock. We'll come back to that in a minute. For now, I went up high to see if there was anything up top. Here's the Rimrocker Trail again and what appears to be something related to the mine, but I'm not sure what. Looking both ways, up and down the road, then back down to the mine to what looks like an old truck frame, and a single ore bin with some great woodwork on top and some grizzly action. I don't have a map for this one, so I'm unsure where the main adit was. I've seen a pattern with them being directly in line with the ore bins, so if the same is true here, then it appears to be collapsed. I did go around the corner here as it appeared that they had been doing some extra digging and didn't find much more than this PVC pipe sticking out of the ground. Circling back around to the truck frame and pointing back to the hillside, I spotted another PVC pipe sticking out of the ground. Anyone know what these are for? And here's another look at that really long ladder. which looks like it was used to access the mine from the road just above the rim. As we spin around here, I want to freeze this frame and give you a look at this large open field. What is now a field used to be evaporation ponds. Here's an old photo from when they were in use. The last mine I had a good look at along this section of the 141 should be the Star No. 13 mine, based entirely off a location marker on the mine at mine.org. Unfortunately, I do not have a map for this one. Just look at all that incredible woodwork out front to the ore bin. The rail is gone and there appears to be some gates blocking off the entrance. This mine is on private property, as evidenced by the newer looking buildings that are situated above it on the rim next to the road. And finally, the last mine I was able to record with the drone was actually on Highway 90 just east of the Utah border. Known as the Uranium Mine, it has a fairly small waste rock pile out front with an ore bin constructed entirely out of wood. I confirmed the name through a location marker and a photo hosted on mine.org. Unfortunately, at the time I was racing an incoming rainstorm, and you may have already spotted the raindrops falling in the video, so I had to hurry to get what I could here before it started pouring. Here's the main adit that appears to be collapsed and inaccessible. And one last look at the ore bin. This last shot is looking up a small canyon at the St. Patrick No.9 mine that I really wanted to record, but unfortunately because of the rain, it was not to be. With all of that said, thanks for joining me on this adventure. Some pretty amazing mines in this area, and this isn't even scratching the surface. As I said, I'll be back here in this area later in the year, and we'll definitely be making a follow-up video with even better footage. So be sure to keep an eye out for that, and if you have any information to contribute or any corrections, please do leave a note down in the comments. I would love to read them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.